The woman was drunk. She spent the night at the man's place. Although she repeatedly tried to get close to him, he dodged her every time. He knew Hannah wasn't in her right mind, and taking advantage of her in that state would be disrespectful. So Garrett didn't do anything that night. He simply stayed by Hannah's side and slept there. When she woke up the next day, Hannah received a message from her idol, Justin. He said his roommates were leaving, and asked, "Do you want to come over and work on our songs?" The implication was clear. Hannah couldn't hide her excitement, but she didn't rush over to see Justin right away. Instead, she brought Garrett a cup of coffee to help him sober up. Once she was sure Garrett was fully sober, Hannah asked him for a favor. Garrett asked what kind of favor.
I need you to give me an orgasm.
This question stunned Garrett. After a long silence, Garrett asked her if she was still drunk. Seeing his reaction, Hannah had no choice but to tell him the truth. She had been raped. Hearing this, Garrett's expression immediately turned serious. Hannah explained that it happened when she was still in high school. Someone had spiked her drink at a party. That was why she didn't like drinking in public. Although she had fully moved on from it, she still hadn't completely shaken off the effects. Things were moving quickly between Hannah and Justin, but the thought of sleeping with him, Hannah couldn't help but feel nervous. So she hoped Garrett could help her out. That way, she wouldn't be nervous when facing Justin again. Garrett fell silent for a long time once more. Finally, he nodded in agreement. Garrett asked if they should start right now. Hannah immediately refused, claiming she still had classes. They finally settled on tonight. Afterward, Hannah went to see her major advisor to discuss the song she'd use for the competition, while Garrett headed to the gym. When evening came, Hannah arrived at Garrett's dorm, having dressed up carefully. Garrett came down to greet her, looking particularly nervous. Seeing Hannah standing before him, Garrett couldn't help but feel a bit tense. But to make Hannah feel more at ease, Garrett had her change into his own clothes. As the music began to play, the two of them couldn't help but dance to the rhythm. With the atmosphere growing increasingly intimate, they prepared to fulfill their morning arrangement. But halfway through, Hannah's body suddenly froze. Garrett immediately sensed her unease, and stopped everything right away. Clearly, Hannah still couldn't shake off the shadows of her past. Finally, Garrett patiently comforted her, gradually soothing her emotions, and guiding Hannah to reveal her true self in front of him. The two of them shared their bodies with each other like that, and eventually spent the night together. The next day, with his friend's encouragement, Garrett finally realized that he had fallen for Hannah. With his friends egging him on, Garrett made a special trip to the drama club to deliberately stage a chance encounter with Hannah. But when he arrived, he saw Hannah sitting right next to Justin, and the two of them were very close. However, since the performance was about to begin, Garrett had no choice but to sit on the other side. Later, during the stage interaction, audience members were selected at random. As luck would have it, Hannah, Garrett, Justin, and another girl were selected to go on stage and perform. According to the script, Garrett was supposed to dance passionately in front of the girl, but when Hannah saw this, she couldn't hide the jealousy welling up inside her. Just then, Justin leaned over and said that he had previously thought Hannah and Garrett were a couple, so he had been suppressing his own feelings all along. But now it seemed they weren't truly in love, so he wanted to pursue Hannah. Facing Justin, whom she had secretly admired for so long, Hannah immediately agreed. After the performance, Hannah found Garrett and told him that Justin had asked her out on a date. This news meant that their relationship was over. Just then, Justin walked over and took Hannah away. As for Garrett's confession, which he had been holding back, he never managed to say it in the end. That night, Garrett was chatting with a friend at the ice rink. His friend asked about him and Hannah. To save face, he claimed he didn't have time for a girlfriend. His friend fell silent for a moment before turning and walking away, but only Garrett knew the truth about his feelings. Meanwhile, at the after-party, as Justin and Hannah discussed the song playing, Hannah asked him what the song made him feel. Justin replied that the song made him jealous, because he wasn't the one who wrote it. It was only then that Hannah finally saw clearly. The musical idol she had long adored lacked any emotional depth. Nothing but hollow, overproduced arrangements. Instantly, her once overwhelming admiration plummeted. She left the party, and immediately picked up her phone to call Garrett. Though no one answered, she knew exactly where he was. At that moment, Garrett was still practicing furiously on the ice rink, venting his emotions. But not long after, a familiar voice suddenly rang out across the rink. Garrett immediately recognized Hannah's voice. Guided by the melody, he quickly located her. There she was, playing the piano and singing a love song, clearly a confession of her feelings to Garrett. Garrett instantly understood Hannah's message. He hurried toward the sound and entered the dressing room. The two stood face to face, gazing into each other's eyes. No words were spoken. They both knew exactly how the other felt, and Hannah, at last, had completely shaken off the shadow of that incident.